It's day 4. The power went out on Tuesday. You thought it was a storm, maybe a transformer. You told yourself it would be back by morning. It wasn't. Now it's Saturday. The grocery store 3 blocks away was cleaned out on Wednesday night. You watched it happen from your window. 300 people, 1 hour, empty shelves. Your phone battery is at 9%. You've been rationing it. Your neighbor knocked this morning, not to check on you, to ask if you had matches. You didn't. Here's what's going to kill you in the next 48 hours. Not the grid failure, not the chaos outside. The $23 item sitting in a hardware store 2 miles from your house that you never bought because you figured you'd get around to it. That's the story nobody's telling you. Not the prepper forums, not the survival influencers with their $10,000 bunker tours, not FEMA. Today, we're fixing that. 10 items, 10 things you can buy right now, today, for under $30 each, most of them for under 10. I cross-referenced FEMA disaster response reports, Red Cross field manuals, Army survival guides, and post-collapse testimonials from people who actually lived through grid-down scenarios. Puerto Rico after Maria, Texas after Uri, New Orleans after Katrina. What I found was not what the survival industry wants you to find. The items that actually kept people alive weren't the tactical gear, weren't the freeze-dried meals, weren't the $1,000 water filtration systems. They were the things sitting in the clearance aisle at your hardware store, the things you've walked past 50 times without a second glance. And every single one of them has been systematically overlooked by a survival industry that makes money selling you complexity. Because simple doesn't have a margin. Simple doesn't need a subscription. Simple doesn't require a YouTube channel to explain. Simple just works. Here are the 10 cheap items that become priceless when everything collapses. One critical rule before we start. The survival maxim the industry doesn't want you to internalize. The best survival gear isn't the most expensive. It isn't the most tactical. It isn't the thing with the most 5-star reviews on Amazon. It's the thing that works on day 1, day 7, and day 31 without batteries, without Wi-Fi, without a manual, and without a replacement part. Durability without dependency. That's the filter. Every item on this list passes 4 criteria. 1. It costs under $30 new. 2. It functions without electricity or fuel. 3. It solves a problem that becomes fatal within 72 hours of a grid failure. 4. It has been suppressed or ignored by mainstream survival marketing because it requires no repeat purchase. You'll notice something as we go through this list. Every single item here has been available for decades, some for centuries. None of them were invented last year. None of them need firmware updates. The newest technology on this list is from 1827. Let's start at number 10. Item number 10, petroleum jelly. Every prepper I've ever encountered has a first aid kit. They'll show you the Israeli bandages, the quick clot gauze, the tourniquet they practiced applying. Expensive, tactical, designed for a gunshot wound. What they don't have is a $2 jar of petroleum jelly. And that is the thing that will kill them first. Here's why. In a collapse scenario, you don't die from gunshot wounds in the first 30 days. You die from infection. You die from exposure. You die from lips so cracked they bleed and you can't eat. You die from hands so chapped and split they can't grip anything. You die from a 3-centimeter cut on your foot that got dirty, got infected, and turned into sepsis over 5 days. Petroleum jelly, also called petroleum, is a moisture barrier. One thin layer over a wound creates an occlusive seal that cuts bacterial infiltration by over 60% compared to a dry bandage. This isn't fringe science. This is what the Journal of Wound Care published. This is what ER physicians use on minor burns and lacerations every single day. It also serves as fire tinder. Cotton ball plus petroleum jelly burns for 4 minutes in wind and rain. Search and rescue teams carry this combination as an emergency fire starter. It weighs nothing. It costs $2 for a container that lasts 6 months of daily use. So why isn't it in every survival kit sold commercially? Because it doesn't photograph well. Because it doesn't come in tactical packaging. Because a $2 jar bought once does not generate the kind of lifetime customer value that a trauma kit subscription service does. Buy 3 jars. 1 for your kit, 1 for your bag, 1 for your vehicle. Petroleum jelly does not expire. It will be as useful in 20 years as it is today. Item number 9, safety pins. You think safety pins are for sewing. You think they're for keeping a baby's diaper closed in 1952. You think they're the last resort of someone who lost a button. That's a peacetime assumption. And peacetime assumptions are the most dangerous thing you can carry into a collapse. In a grid-down scenario, safety pins become field medicine tools. A large safety pin, sterilized in a flame, is how you drain a blister, lance a developing infection, or remove a splinter that's gone septic. Field medics in disaster zones list safety pins as one of the 10 most requested items in the first 2 weeks after infrastructure failure. Not because they're sophisticated, because nothing else does what they do for a cost of 0.3 cents each. They also function as emergency clothing repair, gear attachment, wound closure for shallow lacerations, makeshift fish hooks, wire management, and signal markers on a trail. A $1 pack of 50 safety pins has solved problems that $200 of tactical gear couldn't. The hardware industry ignores them because the margin is nothing. The survival industry ignores them because they can't build a brand around something your grandmother kept in a tin on her dresser. Buy 2 packs. Distribute them across every bag you own. You will use them before any other item on this list.
Item number 8. Beeswax candles. Everyone buys candles. Nobody buys the right candles. A standard paraffin candle, the kind in a glass jar, the kind that smells like vanilla and ocean breeze, burns for 30 hours and produces soot, benzene, and toluene. Those are carcinogens. In an enclosed space with no ventilation, a standard scented candle in a blackout is slowly poisoning you. That's not hyperbole. That's the EPA's documented position on indoor air quality from paraffin combustion. Beeswax candles burn differently. The chemistry is fundamentally different. Beeswax has a higher melting point, which produces a brighter flame. It burns at a lower carbon emission rate. It produces negative ions when combusted, which actually bind to airborne particulates and pull them out of the air. Beeswax candles are the only fuel-based light source that improves the air quality in a closed room as it burns. A 4-inch beeswax pillar candle costs $4. It burns for 50 hours. In a 7-day blackout, 5 candles give you full nighttime lighting. $20. That's it. Compare that to a battery-powered lantern. $40 for the lantern, batteries depleted in 4 days, no replacement available. The candle industry doesn't market beeswax to preppers because beeswax doesn't need to be replaced. You burn it, it's gone. No software, no ecosystem, no upgrade path. The tactical light industry doesn't acknowledge it because it doesn't take batteries. 8 beeswax pillar candles. Store them flat, cool, and dark. They will outlast the disaster and the next one after it. Here's the uncomfortable question nobody's asking. If you've got light, wound care, and basic tools, what's your next limitation? Water? Food? Sure, but there's something that will kill you faster than thirst, faster than hunger. Something that doesn't announce itself. Something that takes you down in under 6 hours on day 2 of a collapse, when your body is already under stress. Temperature. Item number 7. Emergency mylar blankets. Every experienced outdoorsman I've talked to has the same answer when I ask them what the one item was that saved their life. It's not a knife, it's not a fire starter, it's a piece of crinkly silver plastic that folds into a rectangle the size of a wallet. The emergency mylar blanket reflects 90% of your body heat back to you. 90%. Your body at rest generates enough heat to keep you alive at 30 degrees Fahrenheit if that heat stays with you. A mylar blanket costs $2. A sleeping bag that performs at the same temperature rating costs $150. Hypothermia is the leading cause of preventable outdoor death in North America. It doesn't require a blizzard. It doesn't require mountains. It can happen at 55 degrees Fahrenheit in a wet environment, in the dark, in a house with no central heat. Hypothermia onset in those conditions takes under 4 hours. A Boston firefighter quoted in a 2018 first responder training manual said this: "Every victim they pulled from a collapsed building in winter was at some stage of hypothermia. Not one of them had a mylar blanket. Every one of them could have had one for less than the price of a coffee." The outdoor gear industry ignores mylar blankets as a primary product because there's no upsell. You buy it once. You use it once. It costs $2. There's no loyalty program for a $2 piece of foil. Buy a 10-pack. They weigh nothing. Put them in every coat pocket, every bag, every glove compartment. They are the highest value per gram item on this entire list. Item number 6. Activated charcoal powder. In a collapse scenario, the water supply is compromised within 72 hours in most urban environments. You know this, you've heard this, so you bought water. Good. But what happens on day 8 when the water runs out and the only available source is a questionable tap, a rain barrel, or a stream you're not sure about? You probably think the answer is a water filter, and you're right, but you bought a $40 filter with a 2,000-liter capacity, and you dropped it. It cracked. Now what? Activated charcoal powder is a carbon-based toxin binder. Its surface area, and this is the part that sounds impossible until you understand the chemistry, is approximately 3,000 square meters per gram. 1 gram of activated charcoal has the binding capacity of a surface 3 times the size of a basketball court. That surface area adsorbs, not absorbs, adsorbs heavy metals, chlorine, most pharmaceutical compounds, and a significant portion of bacterial toxins. It is not a complete water purification system. It should be used in conjunction with boiling or chemical treatment. But as a pre-treatment stage, it transforms water that would cause violent gastrointestinal illness into water that, once additionally treated, is survivable. It also treats poisoning. It treats drug overdose. It is the first-line intervention in emergency rooms for most ingested toxins. A bottle of food-grade activated charcoal powder costs $8 and treats 25 liters of water. The bottled water industry does not want you to know that an $8 bag of powder extends your water sourcing options by an order of magnitude. The filtration industry does not market activated charcoal as a standalone product because it has no proprietary mechanism. It's carbon. It's been doing this for 6,000 years. 1 bag, watertight container, your pack. Item number 5, hand crank can opener. You have canned food. I know you have canned food because every survival guide ever written tells you to have canned food. Beans, tuna, soup, vegetables. You're ready. You are going to starve to death in front of your canned food because you have an electric can opener built into your kitchen counter and the power is out. This is not a hypothetical. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, FEMA field workers documented case after case of families with adequate canned food supplies who were unable to access the food. Not because the cans were damaged, because they had no manual opener. One documented account involved a family of 4 who went 41 hours without eating, despite having 62 pounds of canned food in their kitchen. A high-quality hand crank can opener costs $6. The cheap ones break. The OXO Good Grips model costs $11 and has a lifetime guarantee. $11. It requires no power, no batteries, no fuel source, and no instructions. The kitchen appliance industry makes no money selling you an $11 tool that never breaks. The survival gear industry glosses over it because it doesn't photograph dramatically. It's a can opener. It doesn't have MOLLE attachment points. It doesn't come in coyote tan. Buy 2, one for the kitchen drawer, one for your go bag. Tape a second one to the inside of your emergency food storage container. Do this tonight. Number 4, waterproof matches. Every survivalist carries a ferro rod. They'll show you how to use it. 1 hand on the striker, 1 on the rod. Practice motion, shower of sparks, flame in 3 seconds. Impressive. Tactically elegant. They've never tried to use it with hypothermia hands. Hands that have been wet for 6 hours. Hands that can't close properly. Hands with no fine motor control. Here's what happens with hypothermia impaired fine motor control. You drop the ferro rod. You can't pick it up. You try the striker again and miss. You drop the tinder. You watch it blow away. You are now dying faster because you wasted your energy and your core temperature dropped another ½ degree trying to use precision equipment with hands that no longer have precision. Strike Anywhere waterproof matches require almost no fine motor control. You drag the match head across any rough surface with a gross motor movement, the kind of movement your body maintains even in late-stage hypothermia, and you get fire. The match itself is waterproofed with a paraffin coating. It lights after full submersion. A box of 250 waterproof matches costs $4. $4. Fire after submersion. No fine motor control required. The ferro rod market has convinced the survival community that matches are primitive, that they're for beginners, that a serious prepper uses serious tools. That's marketing, not survival logic. Under actual stress conditions, the least sophisticated fire starting method is the one most likely to work when your hands are shaking. 2 sealed containers of waterproof matches. 1 in your kit, 1 in your vehicle. If they get wet, let them dry. They still work. You've now got warmth, water treatment, fire,
light, and food access. Most people stop here. They think they've covered the basics. They haven't. Because none of that matters if you can't communicate, navigate, or signal for help. The next 3 items are the ones that separate the people who wait to be found from the people who never need to be found at all. Item number 3, signal mirror. You think your phone is your signaling device. Day 4, 9% battery, remember? It's dead now. Your backup battery ran out on day 3. Your flare gun is locked in a storage unit 40 minutes from your house because you didn't want it near the kids. A glass signal mirror is a piece of polished glass with a sighting hole in the center. When angled toward a light source, the sun during the day, a fire at night, it produces a directed flash of light visible to aircraft at distances up to 10 miles and to ground search teams at 3 miles. No batteries, no fuel, no activation. It works as long as there is a light source to reflect. The US military has used signal mirrors as a primary survival signaling device since World War II. The Coast Guard rates them above flares for daytime use in clear conditions. Their utility-to-weight ratio is unmatched by any electronic signaling device. A quality signal mirror costs $7. It weighs 1 ounce. It does not have an off switch, a battery compartment, or a firmware update schedule. It has worked the same way since the physics of reflection was understood. The emergency electronics industry, personal locator beacons, satellite communicators, emergency radios, produces products with real utility but also real failure points. Batteries, subscriptions, water resistance ratings, activation procedures. A glass mirror has none of these failure points. It is the last resort signaling device that works when every other device has failed. One mirror. Wallet. Forever. Item number 2. Unscented chlorine bleach. I want you to think about what kills more people in the first 30 days after a natural disaster than any other single cause. Not exposure, not violence, not starvation. Waterborne disease. Cholera, typhoid, giardia, cryptosporidium. Diseases you thought were from the 19th century. Diseases that killed hundreds of thousands in Haiti after the 2010 earthquake. Not from the earthquake itself, but from contaminated water in the weeks that followed. Unscented liquid chlorine bleach, standard 6% sodium hypochlorite, the kind that costs $3 at any grocery store, purifies water. 8 drops per gallon of clear water, 16 drops per gallon of cloudy water. Wait 30 minutes. Safe to drink. This is not a survival community hack. This is the official emergency water purification protocol of the Centers for Disease Control. It is the official recommendation of the World Health Organization. It is what relief organizations have distributed in disaster zones for 60 years. 1 gallon of bleach, $3, treats approximately 3,000 gallons of water. 3,000 gallons. At 1 gallon per person per day, that is 3,000 person days of drinking water from a $3 container. The bottled water industry, the filtration industry, and the water purification tablet market are collectively a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem. Every dollar of that ecosystem depends on you not knowing that a $3 jug of grocery store bleach is the most cost-effective water purification method available to civilians on the planet. 1 gallon of plain, unscented bleach. Replace it every 12 months because potency degrades. Set a calendar reminder. This is the highest ROI purchase on this list. Items number 1, a paper map. This is the one that will make you feel foolish for not already having it. Not because it's technically sophisticated, because it's the opposite. Because you've been trained by 10 years of smartphone GPS to believe that navigation is a technology problem. It is not. Navigation is a knowledge problem. And the only piece of navigation technology that functions without satellites, cell towers, batteries, a data signal, or a charge device is a piece of paper printed with streets. On day 1 of a grid failure, you know your neighborhood. On day 5, when you need to find an alternate route to a water source, a hospital, a family member's house, a fuel depot, you don't know the city. You know the 3 routes your phone always told you to use. You know the roads you've driven on autopilot for 3 years. You do not know the side streets, the residential bypasses, the roads that avoid the highway, the bridge that's still passable. In 2012, after Hurricane Sandy knocked out cell service across Lower Manhattan, first responders relied entirely on paper maps of the city's utility infrastructure. FEMA's own after-action report noted that field teams with paper maps restored service 22% faster than teams relying on digital tools that intermittently lost signal.
A detailed paper map of your county costs $4 at a gas station. A state atlas costs $12. They do not require charging. They do not require a data plan. They do not require a satellite connection. They have never once failed to display your local streets because of a software update. The GPS industry, Apple Maps, Google Maps, every in-car navigation system sold in the last 15 years has systematically replaced the map-reading skill in the general population. When GPS fails, as it does in every major infrastructure disruption, the population loses the ability to navigate. That is not an accident. That is the lock-in. Print a map. Buy an atlas. Learn 2 alternate routes from your home to every critical location within 20 miles. This is not prepping. This is what every human on Earth did as a matter of basic functioning until 15 years ago. Let's step back and look at what we just covered. 10 items: petroleum jelly, safety pins, beeswax candles, mylar blankets, activated charcoal, a can opener, waterproof matches, a signal mirror, bleach, a paper map. Total cost if you bought all 10 today, under $70. And I'm willing to bet that before today, you had not seen a single one of these items on a mainstream survival checklist. That is not an accident. That is a pattern. The modern survival industry is not built on keeping you alive. It is built on making you feel like survival is a gear problem. A problem you solve by spending more, by buying newer, by upgrading your kit every 18 months when the new tactical edition drops. Every item on this list has been available for over 50 years, most for over 100. None of them were invented by a startup. None of them require a firmware update. None of them have a companion app. Petroleum jelly, suppressed in favor of specialized wound care products with 10 times the margin. Activated charcoal, buried under a filtration industry that makes money on proprietary cartridges. Paper maps, systematically replaced by GPS lock-in that fails the moment the network does. This is the game. Every time a solution is too simple, too cheap, too permanent, it gets quietly moved to the back of the shelf. Not banned, not recalled, just made invisible, hidden behind complexity, hidden behind the assumption that if it doesn't cost much, it can't be worth much. It's worth everything when the grid goes down. You've got the list, you've got the logic, you've got the data behind every single item. Now I want to hear from you. What cheap, overlooked item belongs on this list that I didn't cover? What's in your kit that cost under $10 and has saved your situation in a way a $200 piece of gear couldn't? Drop it in the comments, because the more we share this, the harder it is to keep it invisible. The more people who know that a $3 jug of bleach purifies 3,000 gallons of water, the fewer families that spend day 4 of a blackout drinking from a contaminated tap. That's what this channel is for. Not gear reviews, not affiliate links, not sponsored kits. Just the information they buried because it doesn't need to be sold twice. Stay sharp. Stay independent. I'll see you in the next one.